Welcome everybody, good afternoon. My name is Mark Herman. I am the elected constable with the Precinct 4 Constable's Office. I want to welcome up here with me today Jim Leitner and Jennifer Keith with District Attorney Kim Ogg's office. Eric Batten is with the Harris County Deputies Organization. Ray Hunt is with the Houston Police Officers Union. And Nicole Christoff is with Crimestoppers. Today we're here to discuss some things that my office is rolling out at a pretty significant level. About 8 months ago, I was informed by District Attorney Ogg's office that last year, in the year 2021, there have been thousands of criminal cases dismissed by some of these criminal court judges and magistrates. And when I say dismissed, they slate them for dismissal. And at the end of the day, District Attorney Kim Ogg is in many cases left with no option but to dismiss them. With that said, hundreds of these cases were cases that were filed by my officers here in Precinct 4. The good thing is we have started an initiative about 3 weeks ago, and my office has put a group of individuals together here at Precinct 4 that have started reviewing these cases with the District Attorney's Office, and we have already refiled over 100 criminal cases. You know, we see a lot about bail bond reform. We see these repeat offenders getting out on the street with little or no bail. You know, this all plays in together with emboldening these criminals on our streets. You know, the message today that I want to give out is if you come out here to Precinct 4 and you commit a crime, if your case is dismissed, you can count on it being refiled. I have communicated with 64 other law enforcement leaders here in Harris County. I have encouraged them to find the resources and do exactly what I'm doing here at Precinct 4. We cannot let these people go without having their day in court. Now, I will say some of these probable cause statements do need shoring up, and we fix them. But at the end of the day, we must, you know, hold these criminals accountable, and by these judges and magistrates holding me accountable as a law enforcement leader, you know, the flip side of that coin is now I'm going to hold them back accountable to make sure they adjudicate these cases and go from there. A couple of days ago, I visited the mother of the 11-year-old kid that was killed in East Houston, you know, going out to his vehicle to get his jacket out of the vehicle. We're seeing more and more crime. We are on the precipice of a total collapse here in Harris County with public safety if we don't change direction. I'm choosing to change direction, and I feel confident that other law enforcement leaders will do the same. I'd like to turn it over to Eric Batten with the Harris County Deputies Organization to say a few words.
Thank you, Constable. And first off, let me start by saying we applaud his efforts in what he's trying to push forward on, and we hope that he is not going to get any pushback. You know, currently Harris County is being raided by murderers, rapists, robbers, and thieves. The sad reality is we have elected officials who are allowing this to happen. 3 of them are sitting down in Commissioner's Court. The others are judges who've been elected to the bench. You voters in Harris County have a choice to make real soon, coming up in March. And we're going to suggest to you right now that you hold these people accountable. They're not doing their jobs. They've refused to do their jobs. And we're asking you to make them accountable by taking them out of office. There's nothing more frustrating for law enforcement officers to go out there and do their job and do it with the utmost responsibility. But when it's turned around on us and we have a part of the system that just refuses to work, it's discouraging. We're asking that you help support us. We need your support and we need your help. Thank you.
Nicole, you want?
Thank you. Thank you very much. For 41 years, Crimestoppers of Houston has been working hand in hand with law enforcement to solve dangerous felony crimes in the greater Houston area. We do this in partnership with law enforcement, with the media who covers our cases, and with the tipsters that report every single day information that they have. As a result, our tip line has helped solve over 36,000 felony cases and helped apprehend over 27,000 dangerous felony suspects, many of which we pay rewards on multiple times because they get out and they're back on the streets to commit more crimes, and then our phone rings again, giving more information on the same suspects. I'd like to share a few more stats with you. Between 2010 and 2017, 94% of the suspects that Crimestoppers could track were convicted previously of other felony crimes. 65% of those cases were violent in nature or had the potential to become violent. 90% of the suspects resulted in a successful prosecution, resulting in some form of legal consequence. If you look at our murder cases, only 7% were dismissed for lack of evidence or found not guilty. We feel that this shows the true value in the information that our tipsters provide to Crimestoppers. Tipsters are not disgruntled friends and neighbors or vindictive exes. They're everyday men and women and juveniles that have information about a dangerous crime and are looking for a way to report it safely and anonymously, and that's what we do. We support and applaud Constable Herman for his efforts, and we want to remind anyone with information on the cases that are being refiled or on any other felony case, if you have information, come forward. You never know if that one piece of information you have is the missing piece of a puzzle that could help solve a case and help bring justice to victims across the county and the city. As always, tipsters that contact Crimestoppers directly are 100% anonymous. We don't want to know who you are. We do not record phone calls. We do not have caller ID. We just want the information that you have so we can pass it on to law enforcement. You can do so by calling the tip line at 713-222-TIPS. You can also report anonymously and safely via our website at crime-stoppers.org or our mobile app. Information reported directly to Crimestoppers could result in a reward of up to $5,000. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, Nicole. Ray?
Yeah. We at the Houston Police Officers Union also applaud Constable Herman, me specifically, because I live in this community here in Precinct 4. And let me be clear about something. These cases that he's refiling, these aren't bad cases. These were cases that activist judges did everything they could to find a way to dismiss that person who's probably got a lengthy criminal record, multiple felonies, to put them back out there on the streets. It's time for persons to step up and say enough is enough from these activist judges who hide behind the bench, who don't talk to the media, who hide behind the robe, and keep dumping these people out there on the streets who are continuing to violate our persons in Harris County and the city of Houston. The citizens of Houston need to speak. They need to speak loud and clear in March and again in November. We applaud Constable Herman for this, and we hope every single of the 64 persons that he contacted file those good cases that an activist judge simply dismissed because they're an activist.
Jim, did you have anything? I want to show a couple of slides if I could. Could you bring the first one up, Lieutenant? Okay, this here is a one-day list of cases that are dismissed by I say dismissed, they're slated for dismissal from magistrates and judges. I think this is from January the 14th the different agencies. It shows the Houston Police Department, Humble Police Department, Deer Park, Constable Precinct 5, the Sheriff's Office. This is just one day of dismissals. And if you add this up into 30 days, of course, it adds and then multiplies. Go to the next slide. Okay, this is a list of all cases from 2015 to 2021 that were dismissed by court. Now, we did not put the judges' names on here because obviously they changed through the years. But as you can see, they start out, the numbers are small, then they get bigger. And some of them have doubled, some of them have quadrupled. And these documents are on the table here for you to take if you would like them. And, but it kind of gives you a flavor, if you will, for what courts are dismissing at the higher rates and, you know, go from there. Are there any questions?
Are those, Constable, are those only three courts or two courts? Because it's 2 and 3, it's only 2 courts or that?
No, those are the top ones are the county criminal courts.
Okay.
The bottom list is the criminal district courts.
Okay.
So yeah, the misdemeanors are above, and then the felony courts are on the bottom.
So we're talking about felony, we're talking about 22,947? The total over there to the right?
Yes,
The grand total?
yes, you're talking about, in the year 2021, last year, there was 4,768 cases slated to be dismissed for no probable cause by judges and magistrates.
How does frustrate for you and for your law enforcement people?
Well, I mean, you know, let's just put this in perspective. So when we're working the streets, we get a call for service, we go out and we make an arrest. And every arrest that officers make, first of all, they're risking their lives. They're out there doing their jobs, protecting and serving the communities. We, from the scene, get on the phone with the professionals down at Kim Ogg's office, and we tell them, hey, this is what we got. And we explain the situation, what the crime is, and they will normally tell us, we will accept this criminal charge. In other words, there's probable cause enough for these folks who do this every day to accept the charge. We end up arresting the suspect. We transport them to the station. We do a report. We take them down to get them booked. It takes hours to do this. And 2 or 3 days later, we're finding out that the case was thrown out because the judge or magistrate felt there was no probable cause. It is very frustrating, not only to our deputies, but also to law enforcement in general. And the message this sends is not a good message. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are legitimate cases where they have to be dismissed or refiled, but some of these cases, it's like Ray Hunt was saying, there's little or no reason to do this. And in a lot of these cases, we have tried to speak to the judge themselves to find out why there was no probable cause, and they don't have to speak to us, and they don't speak to us. So what we've been doing is, again, working with Kim Ogg's group, and she's expending resources to this to get these cases refiled. But if we don't follow through on this, all we're doing is emboldening these criminals to go back out and victimize more communities and more citizens. And so we're gonna see this through. And I will say, yes, I did pull people off the streets to do this. That's how important it is to me. And it is gonna cost you on the front end, but the back end, hopefully we can slow some of this crime down in Harris County and keep it under control.
So pretty much it's just like slap in the hand and then just keep going.
Well, I'm not gonna speak for them, but I mean, you can see what it is. I mean, we wouldn't be here speaking about this today. I wouldn't be here today saying I'm having to refile over 100 criminal cases, had they just been, accepted and put in the court system and let the court system do what they do. Unfortunately, that's not happening.
Can these judges hold accountable for these things?
Well, I'm gonna do everything I can do to hold them accountable. I mean, the way I look at it is, they're holding me accountable by saying your person's probable cause is not right for this arrest, even though it's been vetted through the DA's office. And so once I get it fixed or whatever the issue is, now it's back on them. And I can tell you, a couple of these cases I've refiled 2 or 3 times. And, there are statutes of limitations on these cases. And so I could wait a year, I could wait 2 years. I could wait longer on others. But we're not going away. We're not going anywhere. I work for the citizens of Harris County. I don't work for these judges. I would like to work with these judges, and I think we're doing that by refiling these cases. But could it be better? Absolutely, it could be better.
So what you're telling the citizens of Harris County and Houston, just open your eyes and then be more diligent when you.
Yeah, no, what I'm telling everybody is we're going to continue to do our job here at Precinct 4, and we're going to follow this through and make sure that these suspected criminals are held accountable.
So specifically, are you referring to the stage in which a magistrate would determine probable cause in a hearing and it being not dismissed, but probable cause not being determined at that stage, or by the time it gets to a judge, it's then
Yeah.
dismissed?
Jim, you want to elaborate on that, or one of y'all?
It's at both stages.
I'm sorry?
It's at both of those stages.
Yeah, but both of the stages.
So it's to hold both magistrates in the probable cause hearings and
Yes,
judges beyond that
yes,
stage accountable?
that's correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. All right, any other questions?
You know, if these judges thought we were wrong,
Come.
if these judges thought that Constable Herman and the other folks that are screaming about these judges were wrong, don't you think they'd be holding these news conferences? Don't you think they would try to defend themselves? Don't you think they would respond to your television stations when you call and ask for an interview? Wouldn't you want the truth out there? They know that he's telling the truth. They know that we're telling the truth, and they don't want to stand in front of the cameras and have to lie to you, because that's what they'd have to do if they say they're doing their job. They're not doing their job. There's plenty of space in the Texas Department of Corrections, down 20% occupancy to put these bad folks, but unfortunately, it's not happening in Harris County because these activist judges are dismissing it for probable cause, and there is probable cause.
Can I ask one more follow-up?
Sure.
So you've also kind of spoken to the issue of whether you can figure out if these have been legitimately dismissed for lack of probable cause or whether they haven't, because there's questions about that. So how are you distinguishing that overall 22,000 number from those? Like those that would be legitimately
Right.
dismissed or
Right.
not having probable
Yeah,
cause?
okay, so what's happened is the system is overwhelmed. There is no way that I could go back and file every case they dismiss with me. I don't have the manpower. There's no way that Kim Ogg's office can go back, she doesn't have the manpower. And we've got ourselves in a position to where, like, the cases we're refiling now are the most current cases, and we're going back. And we're choosing the aggravated assault, the violent crimes. Some of these ones, there's just no way we can, because we're overwhelmed. I mean, we're just overwhelmed and don't have the people to do it. I mean, we're working out on the streets, fighting crime and doing what we do, and we're literally having to pull people off the streets to go back through these cases and refile them. And it's kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul. And at some point, you got to choose, but you have to do something. I mean, I would like to file every single case that they've dismissed from my department, but logistically, it's just not sustainable to do that.
Mhm. And regarding the cases that have already been refiled, are there any examples of that are coming to mind, like a specific case that?
Yeah, I mean, there are aggravated assault cases, there are family violence cases. I mean, it's just a whole slew of cases. I mean, you go back to the one slide, Lieutenant. Yeah, right there. I mean, you can look at some of these cases: assault on family member, driving while intoxicated, possession of drugs, aggravated robbery, the second one from the bottom. I mean, this is what we get. And so what we as leaders have to do, what I'm doing, is picking out the most severe ones that's basically having the most impact on our communities. And we pick those and we go with those.
Mhm. So on these, it would just be the ones for Precinct 4 at this point, but you're encouraging other agencies to do the same thing?
Right, yeah. Now, I cannot deal with these other agencies. I only deal with mine. And we get an email from Kim Ogg's office every week showing what cases have been dismissed, what judge dismissed them, and why. And we forward that to our team. They start going through them. Now, I can assure you that every law enforcement agency has a list of all their cases that are dismissed. Now, are they refiling them? I don't know. I've been told some of them are not, but I can tell you a lot of them will start. And because it's important, we cannot let this go. I mean, our deputies and law enforcement officers are out there risking their lives. I mean, we are getting slaughtered on the streets, and we can't let this go, period. The criminal of today is no comparison to the criminal of 4 years ago. They are just more emboldened. I mean, you see it. You saw the HPD officer where they were chasing a car. He got out and shot the vehicle up. You saw where Precinct 5 Corporal got shot on a traffic stop. You saw Sergeant Gutierrez with the sheriff's office get run over by a drunk driver. I mean, it's just, you know, so I was at a Kroger's the other day off duty, and a person walked up to me and he said, "Hey," he goes, "you're Constable Herman." And I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Can I ask you a question? I've been meaning to call you and ask you this question." He said, when is it gonna be against the law again to commit a crime in Harris County? That's how our citizens feel. They feel like nothing's being done. And the reality is, we're doing all we can do. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to bear down and do more. So, all right, any other questions? All righty, yes, ma'am.
Could we also get names, spellings, and titles for the different people who spoke today?
Sure, you got mine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, I'll let you do yours.
I'm Eric Batten, ERIC-BATTON, with the Harris County Deputies Organization, and I am the Executive Director.
I'm Nicole Christoff, NicoleChristoph, and I'm the Deputy Director at Crimestoppers of Houston.
And Ray Hunt, RAYHUNT, Executive Director of the Houston Police Officers Union.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay, thank y'all so much. All right.